What's up, y'all? It's your friend Jen, your spiritual helper. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how I feel now. Like I feel I am, right now I'm about, like next month, my life is going to be changed. I'm going to be out of my little bubble here, like I'm going to be outside. Like this place I'm at right now is actually my mother's basement, like this room. I actually moved back to this city, to back to my mother's house from the bustling capital city of Denmark. So just to reflect on my life, and be there with my mother and to, kind of like give her company and yeah, do some reflective time and cut down on everything, my expenses and all the expenses. What is it? All the distractions, because there was a lot of distractions. But this video is about like jumping into the unknown, and also how I feel, and it's a future video for myself. But also like if it can inspire other people. It's also my mission, my project that I'm gonna set out there. So there's a whole lot of good things in this video, So yeah, it's basically my mission. So basically, like it all started, I'm gonna give you a little bit of preface. So it all started where I was, I was this young guy, young kid, I was super traumatized from both my parents. They had a lot of baggage from the war in Sri Lanka, and yeah, I was just schooled to just like, okay, like you're in Denmark, get this degree, get this job, that really didn't cared that much about, friendship, like how to have friends, how to have a relationship, like romantic relationships, and all those extra things. Like it's typical. I guess it's typical Asian. Like when I talk to my Asian parents, it's the same story. When I coach, especially Asian people, it's the same story. Like that most of them, the majority of them, just want their kid to have this degree and then get married, buy a property, obviously have this job where they just think of status. Like both my parents, they when they tried to hook me up with some people, with these women, with these girls, they were like, hey, my friend has this daughter and she's an accountant. That I remember my father said to me, actually. It's like, that's why I love this work. This is also inner work, like that you record yourself and then these stories comes up, like the last couple of days I spent a lot of time with my tribe, like my really close friends, and then you talk with them, and then things just comes up, like, whoa, you talk about, okay, why is it that I feel like I'm not worthy enough to be in a relationship? And then you just talk, you challenge that with your friend and you go through it, and then bam, 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 you release. Same here. Same just happened here. Like around this, that my father tried to matchmake me with this other female, and the first thing that he said is like, "Oh, she's an accountant." So that's how in a way, how, because they're just programmed, like to think in these kind of ways, right? Okay, if a person is an accountant, if a person is a lawyer, if a person is an engineer, whatsoever, right? Like that is automatically a good person, But what if a person is like me, who's like, okay, like going different ways, different, like leaving engineering and like going to just help people with their trauma and mind hacks, just out of out of love and out of my heart. What about a guy like me, or an actor? What about that guy? Like I know one of my acquaintances, all his brothers are engineers, and then he's like, he want to be an actor. He's like acting out, and that's why I have a lot of respect for him, right? And then his mother is like, what is it that you're doing? Like you need to make money, because, but all in all, like our parents just wanted, they just wanted and still wants the best for us, right? And then sometimes it comes out in these weird ways, right? And the same with me, so, but I couldn't feel anything. That is, to cut the story short, I couldn't really feel anything. I was pathological. I really sucked at having friends and all those kind of things, and especially in high schools and uni. So I had to like kind of reach out to these social groups, actually. And then some of these social groups, they they were more inclined toward spirituality, meditation, theology, philosophy, you know, like all those nice, beautiful things that I really care about. They had integrity. They were like so much into like being the better man and stuff, you know. So fortunately, I found those guys, and I started to like dive into the rabbit hole of healing, you know. I can talk more about it. But anyways, like I went into that, and then I realized that okay, like I'm not, because I got my degree. At the end, I got my degree, but then I realized after getting this degree that, hey man, this is not me. You know, this is not me. You know, working, and it was literally like 9 to 5 p.m. You know, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in one of those jobs. The other one was 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You know. But I had to use 1 hour for commute, you know, so it was like 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., you know. But yeah, like, so after doing that and for a while, I realized that this is not for me, you know. And where did it all spark? Where did it got this idea? Like one of the things that kind of sparked this idea was in Australia when I was doing my master's degree. I was there in Sydney, Australia. I was doing this degree, and then at that time it was much I was much more toward to myself, right? Like I had much more freedom. So basically the only thing was like the setup was basically like I was in Sydney. I had to like figure out a company where I can do my projects at, like my master thesis at, and yeah, establish a connection with that company, check in with those guys like 3 times a week, 2 times a week, get my project synopsis accepted, and then bam, I was ready to go. You know, I could wake up and work whenever I wanted to work, and I got like a salary in as well. You know, so I could sustain myself, which was amazing. You know, so every time I woke up, this beautiful, nice city. You know, like warm, like climate, like super nice climate, warm weather, beach. People were just absolutely amazing. Beautiful nature, you know. It's like wow, it's just like amazing, you know. And I'm like, whoa, why can't I just make this happen on an everyday basis? Why can't this be my life, you know? So that was 2018 where I was like thinking like this. Why can't? But at that time I didn't. I only thought of myself. It was like purely about myself, you know. Like I didn't really thought about, okay, maybe I can help people along, you know, like that. Maybe that can be the way, you know, because at the end of the day, like it is, you can say that everything is equals this egoic, right? But you're also helping people, so it's like both. It's like a balance, right? But anyway, so yeah, 2018, and then the next 2 3 years, I was in corporate, you know. I was at 2 companies, and I absolutely dreaded it. But that was also, fortunately, the time when I really started to dive into myself. You know, I really started to go to these meditation retreats, and I started to find my own friends. You know, I started to reach out and really put myself out there in these communities. And then I found these beautiful, nice people in the capital of Copenhagen, and that changed my life, you know. And they were like, I found a couple of mentors, like 2 mentors, and they said to me, like, especially one of them, like, you're not happy, Jin, what is going on? So he kind of like changed my life. And he, you know, because he also educated me in meditation, you know. So I started to feel more and more and more, to a degree where I was like, okay, I started to build up the courage to actually have the feeling that I had in Sydney, Australia, where I could be more free. I can do whatever I wanted to do, you know. And that was, I was like, okay, it must happen, you know. And then in this social community where what I was a part of, you know, I realized that okay, a lot of these people struggle, you know. And it was one of the biggest pain of my own life, you know, because I didn't have that many pain, how can I say, relationships, you know, like friendships, also like friendships, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships, like are really sucked when it came to building connections, you know. So that was the reason why I reached out to these people when I came home from Australia, because I was like, okay, I needed to, like, I lost all my friends. I needed to, you know, I need to, like, get a network up and running, right? And then I realized that a lot of people here in this network struggled. You know, they struggled a lot. You know, they really, 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 really struggled. You know, so yeah, so I was like, when I did this inner work, you know, went to the retreats and all those kind of things, I got a lot of tools. You know, I was like, yeah, I got a lot of tools. So first I help people just socializing. Okay, how is it to socialize? And then later on I figure out, okay, I can tell a guy how to talk. I can tell a guy, okay, how you can socialize and blah, 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 you know, and build up a circle of friends, right? But the thing is that if you feel not good inside, if you really don't feel good inside, it's better to go into yourself and release all this trauma. And that is where I stumble upon shadow work, you know. But again, like, so I felt, so I did that for free actually in 2023, I guess, yeah, because I went on this huge travel on 2023, you know, went to Africa. That's why I have this band on. That's also why I have this jersey on, you know, like it's an African jersey to to tribute of Africa, to tribute of this journey. That sometimes it actually helps, you know, like to go on these huge travels if you can, if you have the time and means. You know, I did. Fortunately, I had it, but you can also just release in your basement, in your room, whatever, right, and then figure out, okay, this is what I want to do, right. So 2023, I was like, okay, maybe I can help these guys, because they were struggling to making social connections. You know, they were struggling socializing, and also a fair share of these guys were shady. You know, like they were not honest. They would go different miles to make social connections, and then I realized, whoa, this is not good. You know, this is really, really not good. And then I was like challenging these guys and like, hey, let's go out and, you know, let's go out and talk with people, you know, but also like, let's figure out what is going inside, what is happening inside of you. Like, if you don't feel good enough, let's work on those things through mainly shadow work. So yeah, so I was living in the capital and I was doing this for free, and then I realized people started to grow, and then I was like, why not try to take money for it, you know, because all due respect for myself, I use my time. And as soon as I realized that people are willing to pay for this service, I was like, okay, this is next level, you know, like, okay, people are even willing to pay. My brain just started to explode, you know, because I really, really started to love this, you know, because inner work is just everything for me, you know. It is everything. It's creme de la creme. It's God. You know, it's getting closer to God. That's how I see the inner work, or closer to the universe if you really don't believe in God, or just feeling better about yourself. For me, it's the pathway to getting closer to God. And when you get the more closer you get to God, the more in bliss, the more enlightened, the more happy, the more prosperous, the more virtuous, the more your overall quality of life gets, you know, and the more you succeed. Like the more you succeed in life, you can even say that the more closer you are to God, the more you succeed in life, you know. The more you win in life, the more you get the perks. But even with those kind of wording, you still need to let go. So now it takes me back to this state where I'm at right now, because now I'm like, okay, I can, you know, people are coming into my community. I'm building communities, you know, around the globe, online, and people. I build a brand up, right? I make content every single day. I put myself out there, reach out to people, do classrooms, coach people, you know. So I'm like, okay, I can actually now, the next thing now is to live, you know, because I'm like, okay, now I prove myself that I can live. Okay, I can actually live. People want to do shadow work with me, you know. They want to open up with me, sit down with me, talk about all the things that they're going through and release with me through shadow work, you know. And like, okay, why not challenge myself? You know, why not give myself the biggest challenge in my life, and then I was thinking, why not live my life, and mix all these things together and take it as a challenge, like mix all of my passions together, because I believe that if I mix all of my passions and together, I can overall deliver a greater product, because I'll be more happier. I'll be more, because last time I went on this huge travel to Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Namibia, I felt like, even though happiness comes from within, like Lester Levinson, like this amazing guy from the Sedona method, even says that. But I'm like, why not continue this healing journey in a place where there's just people are just much more vibrant, that was one of the reasons why I was thinking, like, why not put myself out there. The second one is like, I live right now in this place where I don't really align with people, like they are not. It's just like, oh, they're just not vibing, they're not that open-minded. And of course, for me, it doesn't really like bother me, because I've done a lot of this work, so I know how to like socialize. Even in, again, happiness is free, like you can socialize, wherever, right? But why not socialize, heal, release, continue doing your job at a place where it's just, where the vibe and all the things that you love are just much more present, right? Instead of like doing it in a place where you're like, okay, like, instead of doing it in a place where you just like, okay, there's not that much, how can I say, the vibe is not there, the climate is not there, the weather is not there, the people are not there, and it's very stable, and very, because here I have, like, everything is stable, everything is safe, everything is comfortable, so why not go out there and get the best out of life, while you still do what you love. But again, like, it's a risk, because I'm gonna invest a lot in myself, and there's a chance that it won't work out right. But again, like, now I built the foundation. I did a lot of release. I went in, because I can feel like, also like the growth. Where's the growth aspect? Where's the biggest margin of growth? Where is it that my inner child really wanna grow? Like, where is it that they really wanna go? Where is it? What is it that is pursuing? What is it that they really wanna do? It really wanna go out there and and explore, because what is the purpose with all this? What is the purpose of our existence? It is to explore, it is to set ourselves free and explore. So that's why the mission for me is to, that I feel is the right, is that I'm gonna mix everything that I love, and then that is my trade-off. I think that can bring me more. I'll be more happy. I'll vibrate at an even higher level. The releases, everything will be even more easier, because I'm in a more higher vibrating place. And the more happier, the more higher vibrating, the more I release, the more I release, the more I feel and release, and the more happy I am, and the more that I honor my inner child, the more success and the more happy I can be around these people that I help. The more happiness as I can bring into their life, the more I can help them with releasing, So that's so that is what I'm buying into, So I'm trading all the safety, all the comfortness towards, towards, like, okay, risk, investment risk, and being open for the unknown. It's very thrilling, but you should know there's a lot of things I had to release. Like, okay, am I gonna make it? I had to play the devil's advocate. Like, okay, is it really what I really wanna do? Isn't it just because of other things? Is it really honoring my child? So I had to release a lot of these things, and now I'm like 100% sure that I'm gonna do it. So So it's also a message for my future self, you know. I'm like, hey, I'm really proud of you. I know that you're grinding. I know that you're disciplined and you're waking up every single day. You are hustling through. You're committed, and you are there making some amazing, amazing, content. Also amazing release, having some amazing insights. So yeah, I'm very proud of you, Future Gen. Let's go. And also proud of you, the one who listens to this video, that you are about to take a leap as well. You know, obviously you need to, like, in NLP, New Linguistic Program, we call it economical check. Like, okay, can I even do it? You know, like, okay, am I a family father who has like 2, 3 kids? You know, I'm paying the mortgage of a house and all those. Like, do I have any responsibility, right? Then obviously have that in mind, right? Before making such decisions. But again, like, we are here to experience. You know, we are here to, release, heal, and follow God. I feel like God is like telling me in a non-egotistical way that, okay, this is the way you are going to Ethiopia. So anyway, what is it that I'm going to do there? So I'm gonna mix all the things that I love, you know. So I'm gonna obviously just help do the inner work with people, and then I'm gonna talk while I travel, while I'm in these different places, you know, beautiful places in Africa, for a start, and talk about different topics, you know. So now it's a lot about God, you know, like God, like surface level, you could say, around God, what is God, and all those kind of things. And then basically mix traveling, like, while I'm in these different places. So let's say I go to, like, for example, let's say I go to Mount Kilimanjaro, you know. So I take this camera with me, and then I talk about resilience, because, you know, you're climbing, you're walking, you're climbing the Mount Kilimanjaro is beautiful, right? And then it requires resilience, consistency, faith, all these beautiful things, right? Curiosity, because you're like climbing, but you're also like curious. Okay, can I do it? It requires some resilience as well, right? And then I talk about inner work. So inner work mixed with traveling, nature, and also people, you know. That is the fourth aspect of it. Like, because I also realized in India that when I film myself, that I love that other people are kind of joined in, you know. And also, like, it is also that, because I love that aspect of it, right? I love to approach and talk to people. Like, I love that part. Like, okay, why is it that some people are open? Okay, how can I navigate it through? Okay, what can I say? I love, like, to, you know, observe people as well. You know, like, okay, why is it that they're like this? Okay, why is it that they're, you know, acting like that? Okay, why, blah blah blah. You know, I love it. I love to interact with people as well. So I'm gonna mix all those things that I love in my life, honor this inner child, believe in myself. Okay, I can do it. It's happening. It's already happening, right? And also, like, why, another aspect of it is from this book called, oh, I forgot the name of it. It's like You Are Badass with Money, by Jen Sincero. You know, she also had a line. It was a nice book. It's one of those books I would just listen to while I do other things, you know, because it's not that deep of a book like the other books that I read, where I need to really sit down and read it. But she had a really good line, and it was around something along that if you're already living your dream, it's much easier to keep that dream alive. So when I'm out there and I'm already living my dream, you know, right now I'm just in the basement. I don't really. This is not my dream life, right? But I can always live here and in imagine myself. Okay, I am in that dream, you know. But it's just so much easier when when you're already there and living that dream, you know. So for example, cliches, like, for example, like these guys going for the American dream, you know, like, especially you hear stories, you know, with, from these guys traveling to America back in the time. It probably happens now too, like they have nothing, they have $1 and then they're there, they're inside their dream. They're inside their dream, at least their dream country, and then they make it happen, And the same with me, when I go out there, I'm inside the dream and I'm gonna make it happen. I have to make it happen. There's no other ways around it, right? I'm already making it happen, right? And being open for everything that happens to me, right? So this is the video, one of the few longer videos telling me about my whole journey before going to Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is gonna be my first country. It's going to be amazing. I really look forward to go there and also challenge myself. Already now I have some ideas around what the content could be around, and already now I kind of did my work because I'm going to Ethiopia, I'm going to Rwanda, I'm going to Uganda, and then it's still yet to be decided what will be the other countries. Maybe I'm really lukewarm to go to Zambia, Zimbabwe, and then maybe Joburg. Even though Joburg is you got to be careful. That is what I heard. That is also what I have also in the net, and also like with the work. When I met people on my other trip. I met a guy in Mexico, and he was like Joburg. He got friend at one point, right? But anyway. So what could an idea be? So an idea could be like, because for example, I chatted with guys, and people, every kind of, even females, and from Ethiopia, and I realized that, people generally are not that open-minded, and even when I've met people, Ethiopians here, it's the same vibe that like they're open, like smiling, blah blah blah, but they don't wanna. It's harder to, they're not that, how can I say, they're more into themselves, they're not like Ugandans. So every time I met Ugandans, it's just been like, woof, like they're on fire, but Ethiopians are more closed off, and that is also when I've done my research, it also shows me that Ethiopians. This is ChatGPT, like I put a whole lot of things in, like how open are Ethiopians, blah, blah. It said to me like it is from a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is like super hard, difficult, like you won't make any connections and hang out with people, make friends, going on dates, whatsoever, right? Like whatever your interest is. It said that it was 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. And Wonder, it was 7.5, and then you have these other, like the Uganda was I think it was down to a 4. It also kind of makes sense, so I'm like, okay, do you know what, let me take that as a challenge, and then one video idea could be that I'm just going up talking about my, okay, now I'm ready, okay, then a video could be around socializing, okay, how is that gonna go down, right? So it could be like I'm walking down the streets and I'm okay, today we are gonna release this thing about socializing. Just let it go, like, because the target is just to experience, be there, right? And be there with your shadows and realize, okay, what happens, like what happened? Okay, I don't socialize, people reject me. Okay, what happens? This actually happened to me in India, that I kind of had some expectations that I will easily make friends, and then the opposite kind of happened. It was tough, but also there was some other circumstances, right? And then everything just went into release work, inner work, shadow work, meditation, and then so I want to mix all these things in with each other, right? It's amazing. So this is just one of them. Like basically, okay, Ethiopia is one of the toughest countries to socialize. 8.5 according to AI, not the best source whatsoever, right? But okay, but it's tough, right? We can agree that it's tougher than Kenya, Uganda, these other countries. Okay, I talk about how I socialize with people, and maybe even have some, because I don't like to film people without they don't know it, right? I'm not a fan of that. So either film around and like so, and then socialize and like, hey, what's up? Is it okay? Socialize with people, make friends with people, vibe with people. So people kind of get to know. Okay, this is how Jin socializes, you know. So yeah, and then make some contact, and then meet up with them later and like, hey, uh, interview them. What did you think about the way I socialize with you, you know? And then have a recap on, you know, walking around the streets of Addis and talking about all this thing about socializing, you know, and what kind of repressed trauma, shadows that came up around socializing, right? So there, that's just one example. Another one could be that I'm walking in the nature, and then I talk about, you know, going bare feet. You know, obviously it has to be like a clean place with no glasses, and then you go bare feet, and then you just release, and then something comes up. I talk about the things that comes up, right? That is a second example, you know, like where I mix all these things together. Another third one could be that I'm eating this delicious food, and then I talk about inner child philosophy, like how to listen to your inner child and ask the inner child, okay, what is it that you want to eat today? You know, which is a hack, basically, like, you know, like, because it saves you a lot of time. One thing, it saves you a lot of headache, you know, like you're not and energy, because you won't get hangry, you know, like hungry and angry. For some people, and you're honoring your inner child, this precious inner child, right? So that is just to give an idea of, okay, this is what I'm gonna focus on. Mixing inner work, obviously, inner work number one, traveling, socializing, nature. You know, it's gonna be. I look forward to it. You know, let's see what happens. You know, I accept all outcomes. Let's go, let go and let God.